thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here. I know it's late. You guys might be tired, but I thought it was important to share some of the stuff that has been happening in relation with South Summit, not here in the Technologies Cathedral, on the Cathedral of Technologies, but also in Madrid, in the very center of Madrid, in Plaza España. I received around 7 weeks ago a phone call from the leadership of South Summit saying, we want this year to bring the innovation back to the city center. We love what happens here, but it's very B2B, business to business, and we want to connect innovation. We want to connect all the amazing stuff that is happening in the Cathedral of Technologies, connected back to the city, to the citizens. So basically, the commission was to design a structure, a pavilion that could host a series of activities, a series of demonstrations, showcasing different projects and innovation at the very core of Plaza España, as you see in that image. Basically, I'm an architect. I typically do a lot of different projects. Some of those you are seeing behind myself, where we basically try to combine 3 things that we consider very important these days in the construction ecosystem. One is the idea of, for sure, try to minimize the ecological impact of everything we do, so sustainability, ecology becomes central. Second, the idea of try to go for industrialization, so rather than having very labor-intensive manual processes, to try to rely as much as possible on technology. And then we do that with a third component, which is digitalization. So some of the projects that you see behind me, they are all characterized by using bio-based materials, such as timber, being very parametrically kind of driven, and all of them fabricated to be designed and disassembled very easily. So for this commission of the pavilion for the Street Fest in the center of Madrid, basically we based our ideas into these 4 components. Try to have local, sustainable, bio-based materials, to try to use as much digital fabrication as possible. The same way, computation has become personal. We all use PCs. We have to rely on personal fabrication, machines that basically can customize pretty much anything we are able to trim off. And then obviously to add to those 2 ingredients, the idea of creating an important shade, because Plaza España this time of the year is pretty cool, but it relies on having enough shade, so the comfort of the people beneath it is very relevant, right? We had also one cool idea that probably we will leave for next year that was adding some performative aspect to the pavilion that unfortunately, due to time, this year we couldn't do it. So first idea, using timber, bio-based material, very circular kind of like process. I will not spend too much time on this. Second idea, using these kind of robots and machines that enable you to produce any piece of any shape, regardless of them having to be all of them very similar. And then the third idea was this idea of creating a shade, almost like a canopy, the same way that we are like almost inside the canopy of a forest. Try to replicate that idea with this structure. So we came up with this geometry that is composed based out of these kind of funnels, these kind of flowers, that each of them provides a space for a series of experiences, but also casting shade and being in itself the structure of the pavilion. So obviously we started to find ways into how to transform a beautiful surface into pieces that we can easily transport and carry and manufacture and assembly. So this was more or less the beginning of those series of iterations, and then we come up with this kind of final solution that you see in this series of images. Almost reminding of a kind of coral reef, or like a kind of forest that is kind of very suggestive, highly innovative to be at the level of the innovation that is being discussed these days here at the South Summit. So then we applied this kind of material layer. All of the pieces are made out of, in this case, with a sustainable forest, sustainably managed forests, basically using timber, and then providing this space for multiple experiences to take place. So basically, as I was mentioning, each of these funnels basically has like a kind of carpet where all the innovators could share their innovation with basically with the community, with the city. So basically, from ideas, from design all the way to kind of fabrication, obviously you can imagine, no? Like producing thousands of pieces to be assembled in very, very little time. Initially, we had 2 days to put everything together. Finally, they extended to 3. But at the end of the day, we were able to do it in exactly like 48 hours. So we're pretty happy about the pace that we had to fabricate and to assemble. One of the interesting things is that also because of the constraints in terms of the time of assembly, what we did is, this is in a warehouse in Barcelona, where basically we work with a foundation that they work with cognitive disability people, that basically they help us pretty much put in all these metallic plates that will serve as connectors of the different kind of pieces. No? So very patiently, each of them pre-screw all of the different plates into the piece and prepare to be shipped lately. No? So at the end of the day, the idea of the pavilion is something as you see here, no? Like it's almost like a 3-dimensional puzzle, multiple pieces that, teams of 3 people will start in one of the bases and will start growing each of the flowers, all the way up until they were to meet with the next flower, no? And this is basically the kind of master map of the pavilion, right? You see all these different pieces, each of them completely different from each other, but having, this information, this digitalization embedded in the piece. So we know how to reference which flower did it belong to, what was the piece that was nearby. So in this way, there was no chance of basically making any mistakes, no? So here's some of the images, like preparing for the big moment, day before of the initial day of assembly, with the team explaining how this puzzle was going to come along. In this video, in this kind of time-lapse video, you could start seeing how we were setting up. We put the bases, and very much doing the exact same thing as I showed in the video. These teams of 3 people were starting to grow the different kind of pieces from the bottom up from each of the different supports. No? Here you see a few hours later. This was still the first day, so you see it's getting, it's approaching the end of day 1 of assembly, and we were pretty happy with the pace. It was almost like a good 60% of the pavilion ready by the end of the first day of assembly. No? Here you see second day in the morning, again, the pace went very smooth, and the nice thing of working with digital fabrication is that the precision that you can have is absolutely incredible. There is pretty much everything works to the millimeter, no? And then you see the very last, moments of the assembly where, we were basically able to complete the pavilion. Here's some, shots of the drone, even though technically we are not able to fly drones. They allow us to fly it for a while, so it was kind of nice. But then you get to see, these amazing kind of like shades that in one single surface is able to provide an amazing innovation monument, but also creating the perfect conditions for these innovators to exhibit their own innovations as well. No? So this was actually the morning of day 3, where we thought we will be still putting pieces, and maybe it was not enough time, but we could celebrate the pavilion almost with no content, with these beautiful images from Francisco Negueira, which is a Portuguese photographer, highly awarded. And then you get to see, the finalized pavilion, providing this amazing space below, right? It's not only the form and the shape of this canopy, but also, these shades that were so characteristic, and, that create this dialogue between the structure and its shade, right? And then, few images when the activity came, when the people started to, enjoy all the kind of different experiences. We get really great feedback from pretty much everybody that, loved the pavilion, but also even the innovators that were showing those experiences were pretty happy as well to have a space that is representative of the efforts that they are also trying to do. No? So here are some of them, a lot of activity, a lot of people. I have to confess that, we had like maybe 20 or 25 people saying, I hope this stays here. I hope this doesn't get disassembled. We like it very much. This is an amazing. Unfortunately, it's a short, ephemeral installation. Nevertheless, we will try to have it reassembled, obviously, for next year. No? So here, these images that almost looks like a rendering, it looks like a fake image, but it's reality. These are like some images from real kind of like building with this amazing view of Madrid and the pavilion down there. And then maybe lastly, to maybe wrap it up, we thought it was also important that this pavilion had a day and a night, right? Like an activity for socializing, for opening up innovation to the whole city during the morning. But you know, all the leadership at the South Summit, they said we want also some activities, some music, some more hedonistic kind of approach to the pavilion to happen in the night. No? So then we decided to kind of also concentrate all the illumination in these different kind of bases of the funnel as a way of also creating this kind of almost like night effect, no? With the colors of the South Summit to create a completely different kind of look and feel of the same pavilion, no? Which was very nice. No? While in the morning you could have almost the same material inside and outside, no? In the night was having this almost this red cave that was very also very exciting. No? So we are super happy to see innovators like Liux and many other companies being very proud of exhibiting their stuff inside the pavilion we designed for them. So with this kind of last image that we actually took a couple of days ago, before this is just the end of the life of the pavilion, at least for this first year, when again all the experiences were removed and we were starting to the process of disassemble. Again, I want to thank obviously the South Summit for this amazing challenge. It was a big challenge. It was a very little time, but we could demonstrate how a pavilion could be as impactful as the activities that it hosts. It could be done in very little amount of time with very little resources. And the best thing is that it's a pavilion that could be assembled, disassembled, and reassembled next year or whenever is necessary. So with that, thank you so much.